Yo, so the opinions and views expressed in this podcast are that of our own and the future Bachelor podcast only, and not affiliated with any outside party or entity or anything like that. This fun podcast, though, may include some adult language.
Future Bachelor podcast.
It's about that time in the show. You know what time it is, right?
Yeah.
It's that time to talk about Bachelor stuff on our show.
For our listeners who don't see this happen, he he'll say the show and then he'll do like a physical fade out by just like going away from the just like falling away from the mic, and that's your little peek behind the curtain because it's very hilarious to watch. Just like
well, I don't know why I do it. I don't know why I do it.
Fall.
But it's fun. It's like, you know us. We like a good theme for our sections on these shows, and that's just what we came up with, or I came up with, and I can't stop doing it. It's just it's fun. So V, just very quickly, I want to shout out everybody that find us on YouTube. If you like this content, make sure to like and subscribe because we can give you more of this stuff all the time. We do this every week, so we can just talk about Bachelor updates even when the show is not on. So
much like this week.
Exactly. So we really appreciate you guys. The more you like us, the more you subscribe, the more our numbers go up, the more videos like this we can do. So shout out to all you guys that have already done it and are going to do this. So thanks. Well, V, this is our bye week between The Bachelorette and our new season, The Bachelor, that's starting next week with Clayton.
Not a long enough bye week for me, but alas, here we are.
I almost was like, wait a second, do I have a show to watch this week?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, but that didn't happen, and it's all good because this week I got to I looked over the new cast of the girls that are going to be coming in for Clayton's season. We got a lot of beautiful girls. I like the pictures they took this year too.
A lot of these, I was kind of giggling at some of these pictures because it's like you could tell some of them were like, okay, like to their best friend, like Betsy or something, and was all like, all right, take your DSLR. We're going to go over here in front of like this, whatever,
bush
greenery we have.
Yeah.
And we're going to make it work. Or like some of them, it's like you can tell they're like on their front lawn or they're like in their front doorway by a thing.
I was actually looking at the pictures that they had on the actual Bachelor site. They have like a meet the cast, so they have like good pictures of the new host, the new Bachelor, and all the girls and stuff. So they're like professional looking shots. But I did see the ones you were talking about, like I think Cosmopolitan.
Well, the professional looking ones always like you can always tell like because you gotta wear like usually solids or whatever. Those ones are. I don't know. Those always look like you could see like very forced. Like one of the girls like did this kind of pose. Like you can tell who's like the pageant girls in there and who's like the whatevers because like the kinds of pose that they decide to go
They look
with.
like the ages, like the girls were a little older too than we typically get with.
Some of them. I'm seeing still like a bunch of 22, 23-year-olds.
You got to have them in there. You got to have them.
I'm seeing like 28s, 30s. Like, who else? I feel like I saw like a 32 or something, or 33.
So,
maybe.
yeah, I mean, this is the first time I kind of got to look at, like, the cast of this new season before, you don't really get to understand them until the show starts. Like, you could sit here and, like, kind of, like, look at, unless you know rumors about people, they're just, like, a bunch of random girls, like,
Right.
all pretty, so it's just kind of hard to distinguish between all of them.
I feel like a lot of them look more, like, done. Like, I feel like I see a lot of them, like, getting work done on their face, seemingly.
Okay.
Then
we have a good observation here. So,
yeah, I don't know. After watching Emily in Paris and being like pleasantly surprised to see Lily Collins having like actual like expressive forehead that like has lines or makes wrinkles like when she moves it and like expresses herself.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like sort of over this whole young Botox phase that we're in right now.
I feel you. Well, what else do we have coming out of Bachelor Nation? Some updates, some predictions, some just some news that we can talk about this week to hold us over until next week's episode.
Well,
of Bachelor.
In light of after the final rose last week, they had Becca and Thomas and then Serena and Grocery Store Joe on, and they were introduced as Bachelor Nation royalty.
Yes.
And in response to that, Riley posted a picture of him and Marissa for their Christmas, like, little Christmas post being all like, Merry Christmas or whatever from the commoners.
Yeah.
Which is an intentional dig at the fact that, they weren't considered royalty because, I mean, if we're going to get down and dirty with it, they aren't making Bachelor Nation money. They don't have like a Bachelor Nation podcast. Like Becca's has hers, and Joe has his, or like whatever. They like have the podcast that they do.
Yeah.
But I think it was a bad move on Bachelor's point because they were the first all black couple to come out of a Bachelor Nation franchise show, and now Michelle and Nate are the first time from a typical lead show to be that. And I think
both
that
those couples came out of Bachelor in Paradise, so did Riley and
so did they. Yeah.
And to be honest, they probably they were definitely one of the stronger couples on the show.
They were like probably the strongest couple.
Right.
I would besides like Joe and Serena. I think they were on par.
And it does kind of look bad. I'm sure it was unintentional, right? Do you think it was?
It was intentional to the fact that they don't make them money, so they're going to have the people who make the money on stage to help promote, their faces, their products, whatever.
Yeah.
Because like their podcasts, I know Becca will be doing the live Bachelor live experience shows, whatever. So I think it was intentional in that fact that they didn't even think about Riley and Marissa. So
Right. It would be beneficial to Bachelor to have more couples highlighted that are successful, right?
Well, yeah, especially couples like that are people of color.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you would think, especially after such a successful / historic season with Michelle, her, Final Four being all men of color, her getting engaged to a man of color, like things like that, you would think, especially after all that they've been through, you would think that's what they would do.
Yeah. I totally agree. Well, speaking of, people of past seasons, do we have, if there were to be a Bachelor in Paradise next year, do we have any standouts, like any people that like you consider that you think would be obvious choices for Bachelor in Paradise?
Well, I'm thinking, just because it's fresh in my mind, I'm thinking of Michelle's season, and I'm thinking of the guys because, we can't even tell who from Clayton's season might go. I'm sure there's plenty.
Yeah.
Once we get into like the limo episode next week, I'm sure we could pick out some of those quirky off the wall ones. But from Michelle's season, I feel like Rodney's gonna have to be there because he's the good guy vibe. He's the one who deserves another chance at love. Everyone is team Rodney. People wanted Rodney to be the Bachelor. I could see him easily being on that show, even though there have been whispers that they might do a second season of Bachelor next year as well, back to back, similar to how they did Bachelorette. But I know they had been talking about that maybe being Michael A. from Katie's season, who and they would have to do the whole thing, have his kid there, do whatever. But I don't know if that will actually happen. That seems like kind of iffy. And I don't see him going to the beach. So I could see Rodney for sure going to the beach.
Do you think, wow, I didn't even hear about, so there might be 2 Bachelor seasons next year. That makes sense because if there were a Bachelor in Paradise, there would be an even amount of contestants, right? I don't know. There
I
just
guess
seems
at
like
this
there would
point
be
I don't even know how it mattered because they pull from past seasons in general. So, it
was a pretty late year for Bachelor Nation. We had a Bachelor, 2 Bachelorettes, and a Bachelor in Paradise.
Right.
We got
to make up for those ratings.
Right. I wonder how it's gonna do with Clayton as the new Bachelor compared to ratings this last year. I feel like he's very similar as far as when it comes to a lead, like a Matt James, except for the fact that he's white. He's just a very bland lead.
I get him as being, he reminds me more of a Peter lead.
Yeah, we're gonna have to see. Well, yeah. What else we got coming out of Bachelor Nation? Anything else that we kind of need to
Oh,
keep an
well,
eye
I
out
guess like
for?
other Paradise predictions I had for Michelle's season would be Jamie, even though we all hate him, but
Yeah.
he definitely, I could see him being like a controversial, like, comeback. He's like kind of just one of those annoying ones who's like on the beach, maybe saying his shit, or, you know, going for that redemption arc.
You're talking about the Jamie, the Jafar guy?
Yes, the Jafar guy. Yes, Jamie the Jafar guy.
Um,
Jamie the TED Talk guy.
Dude,
And
I
then,
don't think he could save himself. I really don't think there's anything
I
he
don't
could
think
do.
he can either, but I could see them trying because like people hate him so much that I could see him being there for a hate watch. Similar, I could see like maybe the dynamics of, I just thought of this now, Will and Pizza Peter, just because, I mean, even though they like kissed and made up, I could see them, you know, coming back down, maybe either as renewed bros or
Continued beef.
right.
Right.
And then Olu has to be there just because he's hot. Like
Yeah.
he can't not be there. The show's for, you know, some of the hottest of the hotties, and he's got to be there.
Can you think of anybody from Matt James' season? Or I guess they already did for Bachelor.
They
in
did some of
Paradise,
them,
right?
but I feel like some of them could come back for sure.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know. The main ones, I guess, kind of already got picked.
I feel like I
Serena
wonder
P
if
and
they
all
would try to
them.
bring Anna back. Anna, she like the teeth girl.
Yeah.
Like who called the other girl an escort. I wonder if they try to bring her back because she's been blowing up on, I mean, not blowing up, but like she has a decent following and is pretty well nuanced in the TikTok world and like is part of that controversial crew. So I feel like she runs in some of the Bachelor Nation circles as well as like, you know, just like entertainment circles. So I wonder if they bring her back because she was only there for like, you know, 2 weeks pretty much.
I also wonder why they didn't highlight Katie's relationship. Like now that I'm thinking about it, Katie Thurston's relationship too, as far as you
Her
know,
being with John now?
Yeah.
Like, do you mean like on After the Final Rose?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I mean,
Like there's no mention of it, but like it's just
I
fun.
don't think they want to mention that like as a franchise. They don't want to be all like, they had such a happy-go-lucky little after like them being so happy to be together and her at the end of her season and that failed. Like I don't think that the franchise wants to be like, and now let's bring her up with her boyfriend who seemingly there might have been like a
You know, I'll be really mad about is if they have another Bachelor season and they bring Blake. That would be, oh man.
he needs to get out.
It might be
He
an
just-
entertaining season, but I don't want to see him. Be
I'm
the
done with
Bachelor.
Blake.
Me too.
I'm done with Blake. I mean, I don't think him and Katie made a good couple. I mean, I called them not lasting. I think we both called them not lasting. We were surprised that they even like got together. I don't, you know, I don't even see her lasting that long with John. I mean, I think they're maybe more compatible, but I just don't. I don't see it being like a huge thing. But
Well, what else we got for Bachelor Nation news?
oh, another like related to Michelle. She, you know, now that her season's over, it's all aired. She's ready to be like, she's good to be like free as herself and whatever. She's playing back with some of the, you know, some of the shade or things that had happened during the season. And she went to, I think it was a Vikings game, and met up with the guy who she had been seen with that, you know, Jamie spread that whole rumor, did the whole thing with that his friend's sister saw her with some light-skinned baller in Minneapolis. And his name is Jordan Albarino. He's one of her friends. I think, you know, he's like a model, like he's kind of like maybe like sort of in the sport world because it seems like he must have had some sort of like pass or whatever for the Vikings game. So he's just definitely, you know, a friend. She posted an Instagram story like of a picture with her and him, like with her doing a cute little peace sign or whatever, with the caption in quotes, light skin baller crying face emoji. So I'm like, that's right. Like,
Oh man, it looks so bad for Jamie now.
I know Jamie's just like eating his little words left and right.
Yep. Anything else?
So I guess people have been seeing that Tayshia has been liking Zach's, you know, her ex's tweets and stuff from around the holidays. like for things around Christmas, and people are like, what does this mean? And I think, she seemingly was heartbroken. I think things just didn't work out between them. I think maybe they just weren't as compatible. I think he still has some shit he needs to work on, and I think, she just wasn't there for it. But I think she still like supports and cares about him. So she's gonna like a tweet about Merry Christmas. I think that's fine. Especially if it's somebody that you care about. But I love how like people are like, does this mean they're reconciling? Like, it's just a tweet of like, the tweet literally is a like outdoor Christmas service, like where he's holding a candle and like some sheet music to sing along to whatever music.
Yeah.
Like, and it says, Merry, all is calm, all is bright, Merry Christmas. And she liked that.
Wow,
Ooh!
she's so thirsty. Oh my goodness. She's so thirsty. No, Tasha is definitely one of like, probably, I mean, all the guys probably want her and stuff right now.
Do you think she would go back to like a Bachelor in Paradise situation, or no?
I don't think so. I think she's above it now.
I don't think she should.
I think she's above it now because she's been a host, and I don't know if they'll keep them actually as hosts. I'm not gonna lie, but
Well, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if they'll keep them as like, maybe they'll bring in other hosts like for the full thing, or if they'll keep them still like, because I as I said last episode, I do like them in the position of like they're sort of mentors and they're hosts in the way that I don't feel like Chris Harrison was ever able to connect with the leads the same way, where I think Jesse Palmer, who will be with Clayton for his season, he was a lead. He's been on it, and I think, and he's also like, sports, whatever. He's going to be able to connect with Clayton on those levels, and I think that's more, especially for the leads, I think that's a better situation, and it just feels more genuine than like seeing like Chris Harrison being creepy and weird, being all like, what's the matter, bro? Or like, oh, Rachel, like whatever, like, I just feel like,
yeah, totally.
But I feel like I do like having like that kind of host for like the live portions, like after the final rose or Men Tell All or things like that, sort of like the Emmanuel Acho moment from Matt James's season.
Yeah, I mean, I could see. I wonder if they'd go like a route of having maybe like an actual female host, though, someone that maybe hasn't been through The Bachelorette and stuff. Right. I wonder if that's like an option too.
Right.
So we'll have to see, but. I guess I'm looking forward to The Bachelor coming back. It's always nice.
And it'll be back on a Monday,
yeah.
Bachelor Mondays. So you got something to look forward to on your Monday, yep. Which I think it's a great way to, kind of like roll into your week after a weekend. I'm excited to be.
I'm excited to see a lot of females on screen again.
Women.
Women on the show, because last year we just got a lot of like the male or men on the show that were it was just a lot. It was a lot last season. We didn't really get to see it all the way back in Matt James' season. I guess we did, but. Bachelor in Paradise, you get a nice little mixture of everybody, but I think like the women actually bring like a lot of different dynamics to the show that I actually like. I mean, to me, it's just I feel like The Bachelor. I don't know, which one do you think is more entertaining, The Bachelor or The Bachelorette?
I mean, I like them both.
Yeah.
I don't think I can say one is more or less entertaining.
I don't know. Like, I feel like Bachelor. I mean, I'm a sucker for the original, and as opposed to sequels and stuff. But I just feel like there tends to be more drama on like the Bachelor, the actual Bachelor show for some reason. But I don't know. It's been a while since I've seen a Bachelor season, so it'll be nice to kind of have that come around again. But yeah, any predictions for the first episode of The Bachelor next week?
I mean, it's a limo episode.
Yep.
So, I mean, and they're going to be back at the mansion. So I feel like they're going to make a big deal about that. Mm-hmm. And I wonder if they're going to do kind of like a whole little intro bit where they're going to be all like, back at the mansion, this is what's happened. This is like whatever. I don't know if they're going to do anything of that level. I think maybe they will. So it'll be interesting to have that element back. I feel like
this is gonna be maybe like a reboot kind of like they're trying to like reboot it and bring it back to like what they think are the basics of The Bachelor. I mean, and also maybe they might like try to up like the production. It seems like they're traveling a lot more in this season and stuff. So I think this might just be an overall new feeling of The Bachelor. Hopefully, it won't feel like
It's gonna feel like more like pre-pandemic, I think.
Yeah. And it'll be interesting too, coming off of this winter where everyone's getting sick and we're all kind of like
as we're all sitting here, trying to avoid Omicron or Marian, as many memes call it, which
people going in his DMs being like, "Why are you ruining Christmas, Omarion?"
Yeah, I love that.
So anyways, I'm excited. Bachelor comes back next week. Thank you guys. Make sure you're liking and subscribing on YouTube for more content like that. But I'm excited. Bachelor next week. We'll be talking about it. So.
Future Bachelor Podcast.